Welcome to the Lauren Blackwell channel. It looks like Taylor Swift's fans that were expecting her to perform at the NFL halftime show will have to be disappointed because, as you may have heard, Taylor Swift turned down the request by the NFL to perform during the halftime show because they would not meet her demands. Her demands were quite simple, if you ask me. So, when the NFL asked Taylor Swift to perform, as usual, they were not expecting to compensate her in any way because typically very big artists that are known around the world, are happy to do this show just for the exposure and for their own resume, basically, just to be able to be a part of the NFL. And that was enough. Of course, the exposure does go a long way to help them in their careers. But you know what? It gets to a point where when an artist gets to a certain level where they have all of the exposure that they need, and if anything, they are the ones that bring the exposure to whichever organization that they work with. So it is not really beneficial to such artists to do a performance just for the exposure because, they are bringing the exposure. In this day and age, everybody knows Taylor Swift around the world. She does not need exposure from the NFL. If anything, NFL has been falling out of favor with a lot of people, and they are the ones who need the exposure that Taylor Swift brings. So it makes sense that they should expect to at least compensate her in some way. Quite frankly, I think that any artist that works with the NFL and performs specifically during the halftime show should get some sort of compensation. Now, when you're a new artist and you need all the exposure that you can get, then the exposure is your compensation. But if you do not need the exposure, then basically you're getting nothing from your performance. So all Taylor Swift asked for was for her to have full ownership of her footage and for her to be able to advertise her projects during the game. And the NFL did not agree to this because, I don't know, perhaps they did not want to bend their rules because they do not typically allow this magnitude of compensation to the artists that perform. However, because of this, Taylor Swift declined their offer to perform, so now Taylor Swift will not be there. Unless they change their minds and offer her what she's asking for, it does not appear that she will be there performing during the halftime show, which is unfortunate. They're willing to lose her because they do not want to offer her compensation. But I think that she is setting a good precedent for other artists to follow, because why should artists continue to perform at the NFL halftime show for free? There's no reason for them to do that, especially the big artists. The smaller artists are hardly invited anyway, so they do not even have the opportunity. But these bigger artists, I don't see any reason why in 2025 you would expect an artist to come over there, perform, and get nothing for it. Especially an artist like Taylor Swift that has been stressing about getting her masters and all of her works and having ownership of everything that she does, which she finally recently was able to get all of the masters that she set out to acquire, and it cost her a lot of money. So for someone like that who's very big on ownership, why on earth would they think that she would continue to perform for them for free? They're just gonna have to settle for either a smaller artist or a different artist entirely, but definitely not her, because it does not look like she would be doing this sort of performances for free anymore. Now, since she has refused to do this for free. In a sense, she has demanded more than most artists demand from the NFL, as far as her wanting to own her performance and wanting to advertise her work. So even though she does not do the performance and does not get what she has demanded, the fact that she has requested this has set the precedent where other artists will begin to make their own demands as well. Because if you're a big artist, you want to remain a big artist, which means you cannot accept less than someone else is given. So even though she doesn't do this, the next artist will most likely make their own demands, and they probably will get a little bit more than just exposure, because the artists that the NFL invites to do these performances, a lot of them do not actually need the exposure because they're already well known. So honestly, it makes sense to me that she is refusing to do this, and I think other artists should ask for compensation as well. The NFL has used a lot of artists over the years and have not had to give them compensation. They should have valued that when they were able to do it, because it looks like the time is coming to an end where they're going to be able to do that with big artists. Probably with small artists, which is what they may do. They may start going for the smaller artists and begin to ignore these bigger artists, because company like the NFL, they are so big and they know how to get their way. If they approach a particular artist and they do not get what they want from that artist, the odds of them bending to that artist is quite slim. Because let's be honest, if Taylor Swift does not perform, there are many other artists that are willing and that will be willing and happy to perform. So I doubt that they'll be missing much as far as getting another artist to perform for them. There's never a shortage of good artists and well-known artists that can do this. It's just sad because her fans were looking forward to seeing her perform at the Super Bowl, but it looks like they will not be seeing that because they could not come to an agreement. I don't think that this is good timing for the NFL at all, because especially this year, they've just had a lot of negative press around them, and they really needed something that will give them some positive press. And inviting Taylor Swift would have helped. Obviously, they can always hire a different artist, but I think that the fact that they're refusing to meet her demands because they do not want to compensate her, being that she's a very good artist and she's also a female artist, is not a good look for the NFL. So if anything, it makes the NFL look even worse than they currently do. It's almost as if the NFL keeps failing different groups of people for many different reasons this year. I don't know what it is. Honestly, ever since last year, it's just been negative press after negative press after negative press, and they need to break this streak and pull themselves out of this negativity that they are creating for themselves. It is not a good look for an organization as big as the NFL to refuse to compensate a female artist as big as Taylor Swift, especially if she will literally be gaining nothing from performing for them. Like I said earlier, Taylor Swift is already a big star. She does not need their exposure from the NFL. The NFL is quite unpopular right now. They are the ones that need exposure that Taylor Swift is going to bring to them. So I think this will be more their loss than Taylor's loss. Also, the idea that someone should be able to take your performance as a big artist and just have ownership of it and replay it however they want and do with it whatever they want is not a very welcome thought in 2025. So this might be something they may need to get used to, with artists making demands of some sort of compensation, especially artists that do not have to perform at the NFL. Let's not forget there's a cost to these artists as well. They have to pay dancers and they have to spend their time. All of this costs the artists. So not only are they not gaining anything, but it's also costing them money and time and the effort with all of those rehearsals. Come on. This makes sense to me. That's all I have on this. Thank you guys for watching. See you in my next one. Bye, guys.